Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Unash Dukes podcast as we come your way here once again on this beautiful Friday here in Eastern Iowa. And thanks for tuning us in on our YouTube page, Unash Dukes podcast. Go in there. You can not only view this particular episode, but you can also view some of our all of our other episodes if you missed those. And subscribe to us. We do appreciate you listening and viewing, telling others, spreading the word, and going to get bigger and better as we keep moving along. Big thanks to Emil's Hideaway on First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, our presenting sponsor. Couldn't do it without their great help. They're right across from the Lindale Mall, next to the Home Depot, and open at 4 o'clock Monday through Saturday. And they got terrific sandwiches, burgers, of course, fully stocked bar. And as I mentioned, open at 4 o'clock. Not only big thanks to Emil's Hideaway, but also the Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, Bim Ritter Sportswear in downtown Cedar Rapids, Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology, and Hunt Graphic Innovations. All our great sponsors here of the Unash and Dukes podcast. Mark, I'm in the porch today. I'm enjoying the sunshine, much like you are, with the sunshine behind you, and much like our guest is enjoying the sunshine. And is this the Deer Ridge
was out a little
Bureau?
bit
Is that
earlier
what you
today
call it,
doing
Jeff Linder?
That's right.
Live from it. And Jeff Linder, kind enough to join us for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. There's nobody better as far as covering high school girls sports, and part of a great staff that the Gazette has, and hopefully will continue to have for a long, long time. And friend of ours for many, many years. And,
Yeah,
we thank
appreciate
you,
having me
Jeff.
on.
You bet. And it's a busy time, no doubt. Not only we got women's basketball, we'll talk about that coming up in a little bit, but the Girls State Basketball Tournament front and center that gets started next week at Casey Center. And I've got the over-under set. I think Mark Duke said it at what, 3.5? I get 3.5 mulligans for saying Wells Fargo Arena next week.
Yeah. It's different. At least we don't have well anymore. But I don't know what they'll call it. Somebody said they're going to call it the slice after Casey's Pizza. I'm not sure I'm crazy about that either.
Nothing beats the barn. Come on.
No, that was good.
I still miss Vets Auditorium. And I
Yeah,
told
it'd be
Mark
fun.
we need to have a podcast that is actually centered around the remembrances of Veterans Auditorium. I think that people would have fun with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's get started with the Girls State Basketball Tournament, Class 5A. We'll get things underway on Monday morning. Great story with Chris James in Cedar Rapids, Washington. You documented it earlier this year. It's been a long time since the Cedar Rapids Community School District team has been to the state tournament. It's been 13 years for the Warriors, and they are back. And it was a pretty good year for Wash, Jeff, and Kennedy this year. Jeff got better at the end of the year. The future looks bright for the Cougars, and Wash's their future is right now.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they've got a nice, fun team. It's been a lot of fun watching and documenting the rise of Sarah Dombia, CC, I guess she likes to be called, but she's a player, and I'm fairly convinced that she's going to be one player at some point down the road.
Well, 5A is dominant. Johnston is right there at the top. But Washington, I'm not going to reveal your predictions. People can go out to the website and read the print version. But I know you think highly of Washington. Cedar Falls got knocked off by Centennial, but and then you got Iowa City West trying to knock off Waukee Northwest. So, what are your thoughts on Washington advancing, Iowa City West chances?
Yeah, I think Washington 50-50 or better chance. I think they're playing really good ball right now. Ankeny is not the top crust of the CIML, but they're still a very, very good team by standards over here. I would say Washington's got a really nice chance. I'm more into the BC Moore rankings than some of my compatriots, but they have that as a toss up, and I'd say that sounds pretty close.
It is, and I think obviously whoever wins that game is going to get more than likely Johnston, and they've got the 70+ game winning streak going on right now. Jenny Kalua is probably going to be Miss Iowa basketball. I don't want to vote for you too early on that, but common sense would say that might be the case.
I'm not sure it's as much of a slam dunk. Yeah, I'm not sure it's as much of a slam dunk as you think. I know she's got the big accolades and all that, and the pretty good numbers and going to Notre Dame, but there's some pretty good candidates out there.
Yeah, including a couple in our backyard.
Well, talk about
two of them in the backyard. It's a shame that in advance so that the state couldn't see Rowan Jacoby play. She got into foul trouble, and they got bumped in the regional final by Key High. Avery Lauer, really good basketball player at Clear Creek Amana. People will get to see her next week. And Natalie Ramsey from Iowa City Liberty, like Jacoby's going to South Dakota, and she's a really nice player.
Yeah.
The 4A seems really loaded. I mean, the other brackets are very strong as well, but 4A, where you have Clear Creek Amana, that's a pretty loaded bracket, I think, when you have some of the seeded eighth that normally are pretty good teams.
That's a really good field. I think that's a really deep field. I think 3A is as well. I think those are probably the two brackets that are going to be the most interesting. 4A has get down to 4A here. Heelan's probably the favorite. They're undefeated, and they're always really good. That Clear Creek Carlisle matchup, you've got Avery Lauer, you got Macy Comito from Carlisle, who's going to go play at Iowa State. I think maybe the best overall player in the state might be the sophomore from Norwalk, Braylon Birmingham. She averages 30 a game as a sophomore. She's already over 1,000 points in her career. She's terrific, but they've got to play Central DeWitt, and DeWitt hasn't lost since the first game of the year. They've kind of been taking teams apart. The max of 5A conference, and DeWitt went 18-0 in it. So I think that's going to be a really intriguing game. And, you got Dallas Center Grimes and Waverly Shellrock on the top bracket there.
Yeah. You mentioned Birmingham. She's a terrific player. She's probably going to be the next one that everyone's going to be offering her in the next couple of years, and see if they can get her on the dotted line.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that long.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any inside who, but I would think that the offers are aplenty for Miss Birmingham.
You mentioned 3A. Mount Vernon, the defending state champs, are back. New coach this year for the Mustangs, but like you said, there is not a bad team in Class 3A up and down the line, and those 4 first-round games are going to be. They all have a chance to be really epic.
Yeah, they're going to be great. Yeah, and I know Mount Vernon is concerned about Cherokee right out of the chute. 20-3, they beat a good Spirit Lake team in the regional final. That's you get to Northwest Iowa, and that's good basketball, no matter what class you're in. Certainly 3A is part of that. Picking winner there is tough. Williamsburg and Wallard in a rematch of last year's semifinal. That's going to be a really good ball game. Hooray for Maquoketa. They're a program that hasn't had a whole lot of success here in girls basketball. Last 3 years, they've really risen, and they're making their second trip to state in a row. Kudos to them for doing what they did with their schedule. They really scheduled up, and we'll see how that benefits them next week. And they've got a undefeated Mediapolis team in the first round. Then you got Des Moines Christian and Forest City, a couple teams I don't know a ton about, but I'm sure they're both going to be really competitive.
Very true. No, Minneapolis.
Regina's back. What about Tua?
Let's see, 2A. That's a lot of Northwest Iowa too. An awful lot of Northwest Iowa. You got Hinton, you've got West Lyon, Rock Valley, Central Lyon. Emmitsburg's kind of in that vicinity. Trainers out down in Southwest. Just a really, really hotbed of girls basketball there in 2A, like it kind of is in volleyball as well. And I suspect that the champion will probably come out of that quadrant of the state.
What do you think Regina's chances are? You saw their sub-state or the regional final.
Yeah. Addie McLaughlin's a great basketball player. If she can get to 20 points against Rock Valley, that'll give her 1,000 for her career. She's only a sophomore. They're going to have their hands full. Rock Valley's got a pair of twins that are really good. I don't think either of them are related to Deb Remerdy, but certainly could be the case. I think they're going to have their hands full. They're going to have to get some scoring from other people than McLaughlin to a chance late in the game.
What happened to Springville against Lansing Key?
Foul trouble for Rowan Jacoby.
Yeah.
She got 3 in the first half. They got down 17-5. I think Key High hit 4 3-pointers in the first quarter, and they just kind of maintained that lead the rest of the way and won at 55-43. And Jacoby fouled out with 2 or 3 minutes to go, and that was I think they were down 10 or 12 at the time, and that was the ball game.
But it was interesting. Doug Miles, who covered that game in his article, said that the Key coach talking about the fact that the new Upper Iowa Conference now with the 3As moving in really helped Key High, and I think he has a very valid point with that.
Yeah, I think so. And none of those 3A teams were outstanding, but they were all competitive. And Key High would have to play each of those teams once a year, not twice. So they've got that divided pretty nicely so that the big schools are in one division, the small schools are in the other. I'd like to see them come up with better names of the divisions, just than large and small. But I'm sure that helped. They played Waverly in shortly before regionals. They got beat by 30, but that's not terrible. I'm sure Waverly beat some other teams worse than that. Plus, you got Turkey Valley that they played twice, and Turkey Valley was really good.
Yeah, you are. We're gonna have a 1A.
Better have a big breakfast.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Better have a big breakfast Monday, Jeff. It's a long day. Maybe you're going to have some help. I don't know.
No, it's me, and we're learning a new system Monday. That's kind of our reveal for our new. We're going from one to another, and I'm hoping that there's not a point that I'm not under the bleachers in the fetal position crying, because it's going to be a challenging day, but I think we're going to be up for it. And those 4 games back to back at the end of the day are going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be there to help you, but I don't know if I'll be much help to you.
Might be an improvement.
If you need something, just throw up the help sign.
Yeah, and I need a couple of Kleenex.
Hey, they're going to play 1A. They're going to play 1A state tournament without a team from the Tri-Rivers, which is not happened in a long, long time.
No, and it was a pretty good league this year. It was a good league in the West. It was a small league. Maquoketa Valley got beat in the regional final. Edco made it to a regional final and fell a little short. And of course, we talked about Springville, but it's still a really good league. And Northland's coming. They're coming next year, and they're going to be right back where I think everybody has grown accustomed to them being.
You mentioned Northland.
Let's talk a little bit about the old. Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say one more before we move that to Northland and what Brian Wheatley has done there. I mean, we talk about Wash's great run with the district swimming championships. There are other, I mean, Johnston, what Ankeny did in basketball a few years back, but what Brian Wheatley and Northland did with those 20 plus win seasons in a row is not going to be duplicated very often.
No, it's not. And, especially at a small school where talent comes and talent goes, but they've had a really, really good run. Boys too, obviously. But this was a bridge year for Northland. And, with what they've got coming in the 8th grade class, and I hear also in the 7th and 6th grade class, their best days ever might be coming.
Let's talk about the overachievers down in Iowa City, and that is the Iowa Wind.
Don't call that to Jan.
Well, I think the three of us, I know exactly. You had them for 23 wins, but this is a good story, and they avoided a 3-point barrage last night against Illinois, and it's a fun team, if nothing else.
They are a lot of fun. Those young kids they're really a lot of fun. Between Taylor Stremlow and Ava Hayden, they were both at the press conference after the game, and what a joyful pair those two are. Really, really enjoy working with them, and they're the next 2 or 3 years down there are going to be a blast, I think. And yeah, Jan would say you can't call them overachievers. Maybe you could say that they've kind of come closer to their ceiling than some other teams. But I think that what she has done and what they have done has been pretty darn remarkable. And I'll ask you guys this. I do have a vote, and I haven't cast it yet. Where does Jan fit in Big Ten Coach of the Year discussion? The Minnesota coach has had a great year. She's elevated them in a hurry, and you can't overlook what Corey Close has done at UCLA with at 17-0.
It reminds me of the manager that wins the World Series never wins Manager of the Year. UCLA is, but Jan Jensen is right. She's got to be right there. I think in another year, the Illinois coach might be the Coach of the Year. They got a lot of good young talent.
Yeah, and interesting to see what Robin Pinchton does at Wisconsin. They're 5-12. They've kind of hit the skids a little bit, but I think they're heading in a good direction. And we'll see what kind of game they give the Hawks Sunday up in Madison.
For me, I don't think it will be. I'd like to see Jan win it. I don't think it's going to be Jan. I don't think it might be Minnesota. UCLA, they were expected to do, maybe not go undefeated, but they were expected to do what they are doing and winning the regular season. So it's a tough vote. It's always a tough vote.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know which direction I'm going to go with it. We'll wait and see what happens Sunday too.
Jeff, I wonder, Scott can answer the same question, but you saw Hannah Stolke in high school. You saw her, maybe people's expectations of her, and now she's near the end of her career, certainly near the end of the regular season. How would you describe her college career?
I would say it was pretty darn successful. She got to play in 2 Final Fours. She's been one of the best, the best rebounder in the Big Ten this year. And she as a sophomore, Caitlin Clark was a big part of her success as a sophomore, just because she was so good at finding her. And Hannah was, very mobile, usually beat the other post down the floor and was able to get some of those long passes from Clark. I would say it's been a successful career. I think maybe, I don't want to say the last 2 years have been disappointing because her numbers have been good, but I'm not sure that the trajectory went as high as people may have expected after her sophomore year. I think a lot of people were thinking, hey, she's an All-American. She's not that, but she's certainly a very good player. Probably my guess would be second team All Big Ten when everything comes to light here in a week. But I think she's had a nice career, and I don't think she should leave with any regrets. How would you answer?
Yeah, I echo those sentiments. I think she's had a terrific career, and maybe people did have a little bit of too high of expectations after Caitlin left for Hannah. I mean, the thing you heard was, okay, Hannah's next. Hannah's next.
Yeah.
Well, she's not the same player as Caitlin.
Right.
You don't have many players like Caitlin Clark. I mean, you don't have, they're once in a generation talent, especially when they come through Iowa City, and maybe once in a 3-generation talent. It's been since the 80s, probably since Iowa's had one of those. But I think Hannah's had a terrific career. There's no regrets to look back on.
No. And
None.
the thing that I like most about her game is the way she passes. She's a really good passer and good defender, obviously. It was neat to see her come through at the line last night because she hasn't always been a good free throw shooter. About 61% for her career. It's really been up and down. But she nailed 3 out of 4 down the stretch, and that was huge.
Iowa needed that in that one. And
yeah,
another big part of this team, you mentioned fun people. No one made me more fun than Chit Chat. And she, great addition that Iowa brought in through the portal, and has really helped. Not all portal, signees are wins. We know that. I think it's shown on Iowa this year, but Chit Chat was definitely a win. And where would this team be without Chit Chat, right?
Yeah, everybody, and it wasn't a surprise when Aaliyah Guyton left, but when Chit Chat came, I don't think anybody knew what they had in her. But in hindsight, she was an upgrade, and she's a really good point guard. They got her for 2 more years. And, she's kind of, it's a long season. And Jan said that one thing that's going on with Chit Chat right now is she kind of cramps up during games because she's so fit. And, maybe there's a little fatigue there. She's small. She gets beat on. And I'm sure that's taken a little bit of a toll, too. And they've, Jan says, we got to get her going again. And if they're going to make the run that they hope that they can, then I think that's true.
Jeff, one play I've really taken a liking to, and that's Journey Houston.
Yes.
Injured in her junior year in high school, and all she does is come in and contribute. Very little emotion that she shows anyway. Hit some big buckets around the 15-point or 15-foot range, but gets in there and rebounds and whatnot. And I don't know if she'll ever be a first-team All Big Ten player, but she's really been a big contribution for this team.
Absolutely. I was at the state tournament last year. Saw her play, and I didn't really care for her body language. I didn't really care for her effort very much, but she's been, in my opinion, the biggest pleasant surprise of this team. And they've needed her, and she's come through. And like you said, I don't think she's probably you're ever going to hear her as far as Big Ten Player of the Year or anything like that. But she's a very necessary piece, and I like the way she plays. She defends well. She can score a little bit, and she, like I said, I think she's been one of the big success stories to this team.
Yeah. Let's transform over to Ames a little bit. Tough senior night loss for Coach Fenley and Iowa State. I think they're on the good side of the bubble. I don't think there's going to be any problem of them getting into the tournament. Problem is they're going to probably be that 8-9 line, which is good because you may get a win, but then bad because you got one of the big 4 coming your way in round number 2. But it's been a very interesting
Yeah.
year in Ames with Brown going down, obviously Crooks having that run of just enormous games, and now Bill trying to put it all together for the end.
Yeah. Been kind of a disappointment, but the Eddie Brown thing was big. I went out, my wife and I went out and we saw him play against Baylor, that first loss of the year, and it was obvious that Eddie Brown wasn't quite right. That was the first game that we saw that a team really kind of gimmicked on Jada Williams there and really kind of let her shoot and really packed the paint, and that was maybe a little bit of a blueprint, but yeah. I don't know how you describe this season. I think a lot of people were hoping for a big bounce back after what was a very disappointing year last year. I think most people would agree. And there's still time. They still got the Big 12 tournament. They still got the NCAA to get something big done. But clock's ticking, and all these good girls now are juniors.
Jeff, we talked about in the past about participation as it speaks to basketball, girls basketball, and volleyball enters the conversation. What do you hear and see this year about participation?
Well, it's not any better than it was last year. It's probably
Yeah.
worse. When you've got a school like West Delaware that can't field a varsity team, that's not a good sign. And there's a lot of other teams a lot of other schools that have 12 to 15 or fewer kids, 9 through 12. I don't know what the answer is. Everybody likes volleyball. A lot of people like volleyball because you don't have to run. And club volleyball gets in the way of basketball. I don't see the emergence of wrestling as a big factor toward the basketball decline. I think a lot of it, I think the top end talent in girls basketball in Iowa is as good as it's ever been. But, that if you're not a star, are you willing to be a role player? Are you willing to, to improve, to get better? Or are you more willing to just kind of hang up the Reeboks and go play volleyball or go do something else?
And I think another thing too is the fact, and we've seen it not only, here locally, around the state too, and that is, um, we're getting to the point now. There's not a lot of coaches are getting a little long in the tooth, and we're not seeing as many people want to be coaches, especially on the girls' side. And it goes to the boys' side as well, but it's
Yeah.
kind of starting to become a problem.
Yeah, and I don't think it's only a problem in basketball. I think it's a problem in every sport. People there isn't a big bank of coaches out there. There's not a big bank of officials out there, and I think the common denominator in both of those is parents. And I know there have been some good coaches that have gotten out because of parents, and we've talked about officials before, but it's tough. When you've got parents hollering at you all the time, I wouldn't want to do it.
No, no. Yeah, we could come up with the top 10 list of most heard parental calls from stands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, newspaper and radio aren't the same anymore either, Jeff. So we
No,
shouldn't be surprised.
no. And I don't know if you agree, Scott, but maybe it's because we're older now. I don't get many complaints anymore from parents. Do you?
No, no. I think it's gotten better.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's been brought to the forefront that
Yeah.
and you still will have your isolated episode every once in a while, but I think that's still in the state of Iowa. When I look out there on, social media and see things every once in a while, I think we're pretty tame.
Yeah. Maybe they're scared of us.
I don't think that's the case. Maybe KJ. I don't think they're too scared of us.
Yeah.
You got spring sports right around the corner too. Man, track's already underway with
Yeah.
practice and indoors coming up.
I would give both of you a heavy recommendation. If there's a chance that when Western Dubuque's in town for track, come over and see Quentin Allman run. He's something else, and kid that's gone sub 150 and sub 4 flat, and this is his last go around too, and he's a creature we haven't seen before in these parts.
Well, he's a Caitlin Clark on the track.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he is.
Now, before that, we got America's Top 40 on Sunday, so we got that
That's
to look
right.
forward to.
That's right, and we'll see what year we get. We get the 70s on Saturday. We get the 80s on Sunday, and a lot of memories when you hear that stuff.
Yeah, and then you get the bus on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, yep, that's right. So it's just going to be a music bonanza.
And bonanza of basketball next week, and I hope it's a very well attended tournament. And like you said, there are a lot of headliners this year at Casey Center. Go out there and see them, because it doesn't matter if they go to Iowa State, out of state, whatever. There's a lot of Division II and Division III players at the tournament that are really, really talented.
Yeah. Hey, one quick thing before we call it a day. How do you guys feel about the boys tournament going to Ames next year?
Can I tell you after next year?
Yeah, that's fine. That's judgment. We'll wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Change is hard, right, Jeff? Change is hard.
Yeah, I think it's going to work out pretty well. And I'll tell you, if parking was better at Drake, I would love to see the girls tournament at the Knapp Center.
Yep.
And I just think that'd be a great venue for it, but there's just not enough parking when school's in session out there.
True, and I think the parking will be very good in Ames, probably better, a little bit better than it is in Des Moines, actually, to be honest with you. And I don't know, is Town going to be done by then, and hotel and
I don't know. They got a long ways to go yet. I don't know. I think it's going to be a neat experience. I know the folks at Iowa State really wanted to have it, and I think it'll go well.
Now, are they going to want to get the girls eventually if this goes well?
Well, I don't think that'd work well, because they're still going to be hosting games. Iowa State's still going to be hosting men's and women's regular season games, and that won't be Big 12 tournament week. So I think I just don't think that would work.
And I think a big part of it is the fact the girls' union is located in Des Moines. Boys Association's in Boone, which is just right down the road from Ames, and I think that plays a big factor into both.
Yeah, that could be. So, and I don't know what year the lease runs out with the girls' union, but I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk that they're going to stay either.
Interesting. We're creatures of change, right?
That's right. That's right.
Change is afoot there. All right. Well, happy safe driving to you and I. And I will see you bright and early Monday morning for a little 5A basketball.
All right. Look forward to it. And thanks. And you guys are awesome. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you,
Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you coming on board today.
You bet. Have a good day.
You too. That is Jeff Linder of the Cedar Rapids Gazette joining us here today on the Unash and Dukes podcast. Big thanks as well to our great sponsors. That includes Emil's Hideaway at First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, as well as Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology, Hunt Graphic Innovations, Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, and also a big thanks to Bim Ritter Sportswear. And of course, that is located at 817 2nd Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids. And always good to hear from Jeff, Mark. And like I said, and I wasn't just blowing smoke toward him. He does the best job of anybody in the state of Iowa and in the Midwest of covering girls athletics.
It has for a long time, and I spent a lot of years in that business. I'm not sure I've ever covered back to back to back 4 straight games. He's got to watch the games, interview people, write stories. Up next game. People that don't know what that's all about, and I can appreciate that. I know you can too, Scott, but it's a lot of work, 4 games in a row.
We did it once at the Girls State Basketball Tournament back in the early 2000s when it was just a Metro Bonanza that year. Linmar, Jeff, that was back in the Kia Stokes days. Prairie, Wash, Jeff, Linmar, I believe were all, and I think Xavier too, were all there. And even the Register noticed it, Mark, that all these teams from Cedar Rapids were coming over here. So that doesn't happen very, very much with those folks over there.
No, and that's a hell of an accomplishment. But thing is, in radio, when you're done, you're done. Move on to the next game. When Jeff's done with the Wash game, I don't know what he's going to write. Closely follows the West game, and then the Mount Vernon game, and then the Williamsburg game. When's he going to write? He writes during the game and covers the game at the same time.
He'll get through it. He'll do a good job.
I know
he'll do a great job. And he won't be in a fetal position underneath the grandstands.
No, he's a pro. He's a veteran.
Of course, I don't know what's happening with behind the scenes with their new system that they're putting in. That's always a scary proposition. And if it's like you guys in newspaper in the day, Mark, us in radio, it always seemed that it worked out timing-wise to the most, busiest time of the year that something gets changed. It's just, one of those axioms in communications where that happens.
Yeah, it was a heck of a move when we went from typewriters to computers. Look up typewriters, people. Yeah. No, when I was in the restaurant business for a short period of time, the health department can come in anytime. When did they come in? St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, well,
it's the same thing. Yeah. Drop everything. But, you're talking about the same thing, and Jeff's going to go through it, whatever system they're installing, Hopefully they have a couple dry runs.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. We talked women's basketball before we go here. The men, Iowa got a big win on Wednesday night. One they had to have over Ohio State. They kept Thornton in check. I wasn't real impressed with Ohio State. I'd have to put them in the Scott Power poll 11th or 12th in the Big Ten. So just my 2 cents worth. I thought Northwestern was better than Ohio State personally, but they don't have as good a record. Maybe it was just a bad night for the Buckeyes and Diebler. I don't know.
No, I thought it was an important win. I agree with you on Ohio State. They weren't very impressive at all. They got a Bruce Thornton, terrific, but he wasn't in that game. But it was an important win for Iowa because of where the 2 teams were tied in the standings. And should Iowa have lost that game, not only lost that game, but lost it at home, that would have been like a double loss to me. But now it's in the bottom end of that double bye situation. You got Penn State coming up, a winnable game, not an easy game, but a winnable game, and then close with 2 toughies. So, that was a big win. Figueres was the difference in the game to me. Had a couple other guys in double figures, but Figueres, whether he's inspired by his brother being there, I don't know. But if he was, maybe his brother ought to stay for a while.
I think Fulgaris is the X factor to this team. I'm starting to think that. Yeah, Iowa's got to go to Penn State and win one of these days. Might as well be Saturday. Speaking of Saturday, Iowa State hosts Texas Tech Saturday afternoon. No J.R. Toppin, obviously, for Texas Tech anymore, but they're still winning. Now, this is going to be the toughest game by far they faced since they've lost Toppin, but it's going to be one. Iowa State did what they had to do against Utah, and that was go in, not let Utah have a sniff. It wasn't an overwhelming performance by Iowa State, but it was still a really good win on the road against a Utah team that had nothing to lose. So come home, try to win this one against Texas Tech, and try to get that number 2 seed in the Big 12 tournament.
I agree. Tech is not the same, quite obviously, and but it doesn't mean that Tech's going to be a pushover either. It's a game that Iowa State's going to have to play well, and I expect it to.
And Miami, Ohio, still undefeated.
Wonderful. What a great story.
And there's talk now, Mark. Before we go, there's now talk. Belmont could make it as an at-large. Some of the bracketologists are talking about Belmont. If they don't win the MVC, they're 27-4, I want to say right now, and with some good wins. And they're a good team. They might sneak in there and get the Valley 2 bids. We'll see. Belmont's got to lose first. Somebody's got to jump up and beat them, but they are a good basketball team. Belmont is. So
yeah, we've seen this play out before, haven't we?
Yeah, ask St. Louis or ask Indiana State.
Exactly.
Now the St. Louis Billikens, who did drop a game the other night. Thanks to Jeff Linder for joining us. Mark, we will put a bow on this one, and we will get ready for next week, state tournament week for the girls. A lot to look forward to at that time. So thanks to all our great sponsors, including Emel's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor, First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from Lindale Mall. And you have a good weekend. Enjoy the sunshine today, and we'll talk next week.
Will do. You got a busy week next week, and we'll squeeze a couple podcasts in.
All right. Thank you for joining us. It's been the Unash and Dukes podcast, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.